for today, Wednesday, April 6th, 2022. We get to the news in details. Leader of the People's National Congress Reform, Mr. Aubrey Norton, believes that it is critical for the administration to boost the capacity of the Environmental Protection Agency EPA to ensure that the body plays its critical role in the thriving oil and gas sector. Norton made the assertions on Tuesday during a press conference in response to a question by Kaieteur News. The leader explained, first of all, one has to improve the capacity of the Environmental Protection Agency in terms of technical competence. He went on to say that he believed that we have to ensure that every company in Guyana is accountable, and you need to develop the capacity to ensure there is accountability. Get the full details in tomorrow's edition of the Kaieteur News. Meanwhile, as Guyana continues to gain experience in managing the oil sector and with fresh recommendations from the recently concluded International Energy Conference and Expo, the Shadow Oil and Gas Minister, David Patterson, is again highlighting the importance of the country independently verifying the operation of oil giant ExxonMobil rather than depending on the company for reports of its performance when it comes to compliance with environmental permits. In an exclusive interview with Kaieteur on Wednesday, the former Minister of Public Infrastructure explained that Guyana is presently in a bad shape and it is dependent on the developer to report instances of flaring, oil spills, wastewater treatment, and adherence to other aspects of the permit, including resolving complaints it receives from the public, all without proper independent oversight. Read the full story in tomorrow's edition of the Kaieteur News. We turn our attention to your COVID-19 updates. With 25 COVID-19 cases recorded for the month thus far, the Ministry of Health on Wednesday reported that within the last 24-hour period, health authorities have recorded 11 more new infections in the country. The new cases, which now brings the total number of confirmed cases to 63,294, were detected in Region 4, which recorded 8, and Region 6, which recorded 3. The ministry's dashboard data shows that 5 patients are still admitted into the COVID-19 intensive care unit. 9 persons are in institutional isolation, 98 are in home isolation, 15 are quarantined institutionally. Additionally, only 1 person recovered from the virus within the last 24 hours, taking the total number of recovery to 61,697. This is Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM, and you're listening to your evening newscast for today, April 6th, 2022. Dutch manufacturer SBM Offshore has been the preferred shipbuilder for Guyana's floating production, storage, and offloading FPSO vessels since 2015. To date, the company has built the Liza Destiny FPSO, the Liza Unity, and the Payara FPSO, each costing approximately $1 billion, $1.2 billion, and $1.6 billion US dollars, respectively. What remain unknown, however, are the leasing agreements in place for these vessels. While Guyanese continue to remain in the dark on these leasing bills, which are being paid for that should be paid for from its Stabroek Block oil resources, SBM Offshore was nonetheless pleased to announce on Tuesday that ESSO handed it another contract to build Guyana's 4th FPSO. The 4th FPSO, called the One Guyana, will support the $10 billion US Yellowtail development project located in the Stabroek Block in Guyana. Under this latest contract, SBM Offshore said it will construct, install, and then lease and operate the One Guyana FPSO for a period of up to 2 years, after which the FPSO ownership and operation will transfer to EEPGL. The first step to rehabilitation is recognizing one's fault and moving to correct it. This should be the posture of the Environmental Protection Agency, according to former head of that state body, Dr. Vincent Adams, especially since the matter of financial assurance for subsidiaries oil companies operating in Guyana has been deemed critical to ensuring the country's environmental integrity is protected. In fact, Dr. Adams said that given the provisions of the Liza Phase 2 permit, the EPA must now seek in writing the commitment of ExxonMobil to cover possible oil spill expenses beyond what its subsidiary ESSO is proposing to prove that they are serious about the regulations stated in the recently approved Yellowtail permit. Dr. Adams is adamant that while the Yellowtail permit covers the matter of insurance and parental assurance, the government must go back to the Liza 2 well and immediately get Exxon to comply with the insurance requirements therein. And finally, at this time, former president and representative of the APNU AFC list, David Granger, has written to Chief Elections Officer Vishnu Prasad to have the names of the leader of the PNCR, Aubrey Norton, and the former PNCR chairperson, Valda Lawrence, extracted from the list of candidates to sit in the National Assembly as Member of Parliament. According to a statement by Granger's team, the decision follows a request outlined in a letter signed by Norton in his capacity as the chairman of the APNU and Kemraj Ramjatan, the leader of the AFC. The letter informed Granger that the two candidates for the 2020 general and regional elections are to be extracted from the list to fill the vacancies created by the resignation of Joseph Harman and Nicolette Henry. The two former MPs had written to the Speaker of the National Assembly expressing their intention to resign from the National Assembly. And with that, we've come to the end of your main newscast on Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM. Join us tomorrow morning at 7 hours 1 for these and much stories, or pick up a copy of the Kaieteur News at a newsstand near you for just $80 Ghana. For these stories and much more at your fingertips, feel free to head across to our website at kaieteurnewsonline.com. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Kaieteur Radio to stay on the go. Have a great remainder of your Wednesday evening. Reminding you, coming up at 19 hours 20 this evening, it is the Wednesday edition of the Glen Also. Do stay tuned.